Go to John 7. John 7. See, but man to get carried away. Now David gave great occasion, but then you could do some little folly and it could send forth a stinking savor. But now if somebody do some little folly, somebody here is in reputation for something and they do a little folly, it's not my job to spread the little folly to make sure, you know, put it out there. That's why the Lord talked about talebearers. Talebearers revealeth secrets, he said. You ain't gonna help nothing. You should be trying to restore. It's just like I was dealing with two brothers. They don't even go here. They both in Chicago. And they was at odds over something. And I talked to both of them. They at odds. They've been good friends and they got a working relationship. But now they just severed their working relationship and they ain't no more friends. And both of them talking in my ear. Both of them, like, see, he like this. See, he did all this. You know, he ain't my friend no more. Friend don't do that. Now, I could go back and tell the guy, because I'm talking to him. Excuse me, I can keep knocking that thing over. I'm talking to both of them. I can go tell him what he said. Man, you did so-and-so. You ain't his friend no more. But I got more wisdom than that. And then what I did, I looked for the good. Because really, what it was, they just had a difference in opinion in how to carry out the business they was doing. But one of them took it so far, and they both, now they mad, they upset, but I ain't gonna further the affliction. So I look for something good out of the situation. Then the brother told me, he said, yeah, but I was in a bad situation, he helped me out. I said, well then. He came, I was in this situation. I said, well then. I said, so just because y'all disagreed in the business, don't mean you have to, he still have showed he been your friend. He done did all kind of stuff for you. Why you gonna kill that because of that? And the brother saw, I said, so you got to be able to, that don't mean he's not your friend because y'all disagreed on this working situation. But when I talked to the other brother, that's what I told him. I didn't tell him all the other stuff. He said a whole lot of stuff. Because he would have been mad and he'd have been like, oh, see, that's it. No, I said, man, he said, you how much? And the brother knew I was telling the truth because I wouldn't have known that. He said, man, you looked out for him. He got jammed up. You went down there with your credit card. You did. I said, man, that's still your boy. Give him a call. And then they made up and they working together again. But I could have made it worse. John 7 and verse 24. John 7 and verse 24. See, it's going to be enough casualties for sin in and of itself. We ain't got to try to make no more. 7 and 24. The Lord got the casualties. 7 and 24. Go ahead.
Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment.
See, a lot of times that's what man will do. Man will look at so, ooh, and they just judge according to appearance. They don't have a good grasp on the situation yet. You're just judging according to appearance. Jesus warned you of that. It was easy to look at David, what he did. That was a great transgression. 2 of them at one time. Adultery, the 7th commandment. Murder, the 6th of the 10 commandments. That's real simple, right? But then some things might not be as simple. And people jump on a bandwagon. He said, judge not according to appearance, but judge righteous judge, because the Lord got every single solitary thing spelled out in his word. Jesus telling you that. So you got to really investigate when you trying to, especially if you think you got some say-so in it, you got to really see, well, what really is it? What really is the problem? Then you can possibly help if you can. Numbers 12. So David committed a great transgression, 2 of them, but then somebody can commit a little folly. That could be a problem. It ain't my job to fan the apocryphy, that bad smell though, is it? But then something can just be kind of appearance is bad. Because some people looking at it from their own eyes. They looking at it, they don't understand. But if the Lord got scripture for it, I understand what the Lord understands. Number 12. pick it up at verse 1. Here's way back in Moses' time. Here is some appearance for you right here. Some appearance, and some people tried to jump on Moses for something they didn't get, and sometimes some people is looking for a reason for something, and some people just don't understand. They tried to jump on Moses, his own brother and sister. That's why Jesus said, don't judge according to appearance, judge righteous judgment. So they thought they had something on Moses. 12-1, and they already played judge and jury, and haven't even talked to him. They just come out and deal with him. That's why the Lord said, even Nicodemus said about Jesus, they was condemning Jesus back in the day. Nicodemus said, do our law teach us to condemn a man? You ain't even heard him yet. You done already came up with a chastisement for somebody. 12-1. Numbers 12-1. Go ahead.
And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman.
See, now Moses married an Ethiopian woman. Now remember, Moses is the one been talking to God. If you want to look at this, now Miriam and Aaron, that's his brother and his sister. They up there, they like right there next to Moses. But Moses obviously is the boss. He talking to God. So his brother and sister are going to try to challenge him on some woman he married. Some people say, well, because Moses had a Midianite wife, so it's likely he had more than one. Some people say, well, his first wife might have been dead. And it seemed like this case, the problem is, they didn't think he should have married an Ethiopian woman. See, there's always something you can try to find some fault in. It's always something. So they found fault. They spoke against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married. Verse 2.
And they said, had the Lord indeed spoken only by Moses? Had he not spoken also by us? And the Lord heard it.
See, sometimes you can be in a position, you can have a position of authority, and then you can get carried away with your position. You get a little carried away. They done got carried away. Had the Lord only spoken by Moses. See, Moses out of order. Had the Lord spoke. That, like I said, that's like, again, you go to work and you're going to fire the boss. Even the boss mess up, you don't fire him. Who gave you that? So that's what they trying to do to Moses. They like Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. But see, their real conversation is that, now, again, Aaron and Miriam, keep in mind, these are servants of God. Aaron and Miriam are not bad people. They're not bad people, but they having a lack right here. They're having a lack. That's what we have to recognize. They ain't surveying the situation like they should. And then, they might have some stuff in the back of their mind. Sometimes we worried about man, what man gonna think, instead of looking at God's righteous judgment. What man? Look, what God say is what rule. So they went further, verse 2, hath the Lord spoken only by Moses. They can't deny the Lord been speaking by Moses, but they gonna put themselves in there now. So in other words, we got authority like Moses, and we can deal with Moses on this. Well, ain't nothing wrong if Moses did something wrong. Again, this is their appearance. Ain't nothing wrong with saying Moses, that was wrong, but now where you going to go from there? Once you done that, but they know evidence this is wrong right here. Ain't no big deal. But to them, evidently, it looked like a big deal, didn't it? That they going to really challenge him on this. Go ahead, verse 3.
Now the man Moses was very meek, above all the men which were upon the face of the earth.
See, Moses was humble, but skip down to verse 5 because the Lord heard it. This is what the Lord had to say about it. Go ahead.
And the Lord came down in the pillar of the cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. And he said, hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and will speak unto him in a dream. My servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all mine house.
See, the Lord said, look, y'all done got out y'all league on this one. He said, look, normally prophets, I speak to them in a vision and a dream, but that just show you Anybody is capable of anything. So Miriam and Aaron, they're going to challenge Moses for really something that wasn't nothing. They're going to challenge Moses and try to make a big deal even in front of people. And the Lord had to check. They the ones that end up getting checked. So the Lord checked them and said, look, let me tell you about Moses. If normally I speak to a prophet in a dream, in a vision, my servant Moses is not like that. My servant Moses, verse 8, go ahead.
With him will I speak mouth to mouth.
See, I speak to Moses mouth to mouth. I don't deal with Moses in a vision and a dream like the rest of the prophets. I speak to him mouth. That's why these preachers are crazy. They're going to talk about Moses didn't understand. See, we got the spirit now. Look, Moses was talking to the spirit mouth to mouth because God is a spirit, right? Mm-hmm. How in the world you going to disregard what Moses said? You worse than Miriam and Aaron coming against Moses. He said, with him will I speak mouth to mouth, even what?
Apparently.
Apparently. Go ahead.
And not in dark speech.
Not even in no parables or nothing. Go ahead.
And the similitude of the Lord shall he behold.
And he going to be looking at my similitude. Go ahead.
Wherefore then were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses?
He said, you should have been afraid. You should have been afraid. It's just like even Aaron later on. Aaron, he became the first high priest under Moses. And Aaron did some crazy stuff when Moses was gone. He made a golden calf. But then in number 16, you read that on your own, them people tried to challenge him really. And put some of the leaders tried to challenge him and Moses. And the Lord had to kill some of them. So they became, Aaron had messed up with the golden calf. And ain't no man perfect, but they became casualties themselves because they tried to take a position that they weren't supposed to take. Notice what he said. He said, why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? Verse 9.
And the anger of the Lord was kindled against them, and he departed.
So they thought they were just dealing with Moses. If you see Moses been dealing with God, that should give you some pause right away. Right away. Okay, I'm going to look at that a little longer. Like when I was at the Israel of God, especially when I was new, I just knew Brother Bowie was wrong on a lot of stuff. I hear it, but then I learned so much, I said, well, I ain't getting ready to get up and say nothing, though. But I know that's wrong. I ain't never heard nothing. That got to be wrong. But I ain't opened my mouth. And then I keep reading the Bible, and then, oops, there you go. I'm glad I didn't say nothing. Oof. Every time I gave up. I mean, it happened so many times, it made me wonder. Every time I said, oh, I got him now. I got him. Every time I run into it. I said, okay. But now, go ahead, keep reading.
And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow.
Now, you know, they thought they was getting Moses, jamming Moses. Now, you know who the casualty became? Miriam became the casualty. That lets you know she probably was instigating it. She probably was instigating. Really got out her league. Probably drug Aaron over there. This is what we need to do. We need to deal with Moses. So either way, she got leprosy. Aaron didn't get no leprosy. He was wrong, just like with her. The Lord rebuked both of them, but she got the leprosy. He said, and Aaron looked up, and Miriam became leopard as white as snow. And what happened, verse 10?
And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leopard.
You know, that scared him because he wondered what's going to happen to me. Go ahead.
And Aaron said unto Moses, Alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned.
See, they were smart enough to change. They tuned in a hurry in them days. When the Lord had stepped in, the one they was trying to accuse, they turned around and said, don't have mercy on us. And Moses humble enough to do it. He got to help them get out of trouble. And they were trying to get him in trouble. Go ahead.
Let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed when he cometh out of his mother's womb. And Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, Heal her now, O God, I beseech thee.
Now they just trying to deal with Moses, and Moses turned around and prayed to God for them. But God wasn't even hearing Moses on this. What did God say?
And the Lord said unto Moses, if her father had but spit in her face, should she not be ashamed 7 days? Let her be shut out from the camp 7 days. And after that, let her be received in again.
See, Moses tried to say, heal her now, Lord. Take this off of her right now. The Lord said, no, give her a week outside. She learned something from that. If her father spit in her face, she'd have been shut out. So she had to be put out. That show you, don't be so quick to assess something and jump the gun. You become, even if Moses was wrong, the Lord got his casualty coming, right? You ain't got to worry about it. Why you going to get yourself jammed up? By jumping the gun. And that's what they did. But now, go to, back to 2 Samuel 16. Back to 2 Samuel. We're going to be here for a minute, all the way to the end now, because there's a lot of good reading, good examples. Just like that was an example with Moses. 2 Samuel 16, and we're going to pick it up at verse 5. 2 Samuel 16 and verse 5. Okay, go ahead.
And when King David came to Bahurim, behold, thence came out a man of the family of the house of Saul, whose name was Shimei.
Okay, so now, this is when Saul or David was on the run from his own son Absalom, and really the Lord was chastising David. See, sometimes the Lord can be chastising somebody. That ain't time for you to jump in and kick him. You know, just like you see somebody, if something happened to anybody, the Lord let it happen. I done seen people in Chicago, somebody get hit by a cop, people go over there and rob them. Take the stuff, they land in the street. You ain't gonna take their stuff. You should be trying to help them. You think you ain't gonna pay for that? Just like I know a brother, he in a wheelchair. And he was driving, brother came over there and act like he was going to help him because his car stopped, pulled, raised his shirt up, showed him his gun, said, look, don't make this worse than it. But you robbing a guy in a wheelchair, the Lord going to deal with you. He going to deal with you. Now, David is already in agony. So people see that, and people come out the woodwork trying to take advantage of something. But the only thing they become, if David is paying for something he did, he getting his casualty, now you're going to get you some casualty. You're going to be a part of it because you think it's open season now. You ain't investigated. So, David was vulnerable. His own son chased him and tried to take over. And David left. David didn't want to deal with his own son and kill him. He could have probably tried to put up opposition. He said, look, I'm going to go ahead. And he left. And when King David came to Bahurim, behold, this came out what? A man of what?
The man of the family of the house of Saul, whose name was Shimei.
Shimei, go ahead.
The son of Gera. He came forth and cursed still as he came.
See, that's bad. When you in a rough time, then somebody going to come curse you out. That's just the opposite. But see, again, people looking at it from their point of view in many cases. People, judgment is skewed if they feel it's something. It don't have to be necessarily so bad in God's eyesight, but it's just terrible. How could that happen? So, you know what his problem was? They say he was a Benjamite. He was of the house of Saul. His problem really was that the Lord removed Saul and gave him the kingdom. So it went from a Benjamite, Saul, which he of Saul's family, it went to David, who was from the tribe of Judah. So, they over there hating all along. But the Lord made it happen. Ain't nobody in no position as the Lord put him in. So why you upset about it? So he upset, but he never would do nothing when David was sitting in the place where he was at. But now he saw a window of opportunity. He saw a window. He said, yeah, nah, I'm going to tell him how I feel. And he weak as water. Can't do nothing. And he lucky David fear God. So this guy come out cursing like a sailor. He said he came forth, he cursed still as he came. Verse 6.
And he cast stones at David.
And he cast stones. little kiddie stuff. He ain't trying to do nothing. It's an insult. He come out there cursing the man out. Somebody who is working for the Lord. Don't matter what did happen. He working for the Lord. And he cast stones at David and did what?
And at all the servants of the king David. And all the people and all the mighty men were on his right hand and on his left.
See, that shows he ain't had good sense. But sometimes we're a little more comfortable. How you say you're a little more proud than you need to be. Or thinking you got so much right going on your side, you can get out your league now. So that's the way he was. David still is leading some guerrilla army men.
Yeah.
So come on. But some people do that. I've seen people, especially people that drunk too much. The police got sticks and guns and tasers, and people gonna try to fight the police. I done been there myself. I can't lie. I told the police once, you ain't taking me by yourself. I won't say that no more. Because I guess he believed, so he called for a whole lot more. But at any rate, that's what this guy doing. He going out there snapping on David and his men, and they already mad. See, you catch somebody in a vulnerable situation, you really laying it on the line. Just so happened, David got a lot of wisdom. His boys wasn't like that, though. His boys wasn't that righteous, and they could be righteous, but they just wasn't that patient and gonna deal with it and look at it from another point of view. But go ahead.
And thus said Shimei when he cursed, come out, thou bloody man, and thou man of Belial.
See, he calling David the devil. And we see David had did some atrocious stuff, but who give you a right to act like that? And David was actually getting the casualties, what he was going through right here some years later after he did what he did with Bathsheba. He was suffering the casualties of, and this man gonna take advantage of. But this man got another motive. He got another motive. That is, he just mad David is the king instead of Saul, because he of Saul's family. Come out, you bloody man. David didn't do nothing to Saul. He acting like David did something wrong to Saul. David didn't touch Saul. Saul trying to kill David. David didn't even leave without permission. The man trying to kill him, not his cousin. Not his friend. Saul trying to kill David. David knew Saul was anointed by the Lord. He knew that. He didn't come against Saul at all. Matter of fact, before he left, he still got permission from the son. He said, look, man, your old man trying to kill me. You need to give me leave so I can go. Because that's going to look bad if you just jump ship. And, but the man trying to kill him seemed like you said, look, I'm up. Skip that. No, David still went through the order thing. He said, look, and Jonathan, Saul's son, said, man, I don't think he's trying to kill him. He said, man, your dad trying to kill him. He said, okay, Jonathan said, okay, I'm going to fill him out. I'm going to see. And then Jonathan filled him out and he saw. Then he said, yeah, you go ahead. Now he working with David. Really made Saul mad. But now go ahead. What verse you at?
8.
The
Lord have returned upon thee all the blood of the house of Saul.
See, David hadn't did nothing to Saul. Saul was trying to fight David, and when Saul was dead, some of the remnants, they went to war, and David won. Go ahead.
In whose stead thou hast reigned.
Yeah, the Lord made him reign in Saul's stead. Go ahead.
And the Lord hath delivered the kingdom into the hand of Absalom thy son.
See, that's what it looked like. See, just because David's going through hard times, hey, don't go by appearances. Go ahead.
And behold, thou art taken in thy mischief, because thou art a bloody man.
Oh, he's snapping on David. He got cause, but it's in his own mind. It's in his own mind. He got his own issues that he's dealing with. Go ahead.
Then said Abishai, the son of Zeruiah.
Oh, David had some warriors, boy. They didn't play at all. Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, did what? He said on what?
Unto the king. Why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Let me go over, I pray thee, and take off his head. See, that would have been real easy. See, they didn't play. They dealt with it quick, fast, and he said, man, Dave, why we letting this go on? They sitting there listening to the guy, he cursing them out. Yeah.
He said, man, this dude is a dead dog. Let me go. I ain't going to hit him but one time. Take his head off. Go ahead.
And the king said, what have I to do with you, ye sons of Zeruiah?
See, sometimes you could be hard in a situation that don't call for it. You could be, so David understood. David said, man, this cat, he ain't hurting us. Let him curse. Maybe, you know, we don't need to be on that right now. He ain't doing nothing to us. And the Lord evidently allowing him to do it. Let him do it. So he said, David said, what have I to do with you, son of Zeruiah? Go ahead.
So let him curse, because the Lord hath said unto him, curse David. Who shall thee and say, wherefore hast thou done so? And David said to Abishai and to all his servants, behold, my son, which came forth of my bowels, seeketh my life. How much more now may this Benjamite do it? Let him alone, and let him curse, for the Lord hath bidden him.
He said, hey, let him do what he's doing. The Lord let him do it. And he know that, look, if he humble himself to the Lord, hey, the Lord is the one in control of the casualty. The Lord will get him out of this situation that he in. He said, let him curse. Go ahead, verse 12.
It may be that the Lord will look up on mine affliction, and that the Lord will requite me good for his cursing this day.
See, David has some good understanding, boy. He said, man, let that cat curse. He ain't hurting nobody, really. You know, David didn't like it. And David had him killed later. Keep that in mind. Because that wasn't right what he was doing. But he didn't kill him then. He didn't kill him then. The Lord, David understood. He said, look, I'm dealing with what I got to deal with. I'm going to deal with it. Let him curse. He didn't even kill him once it was over with. See, they knew better. See, he looked at the matter wrong. He thought because David then ran from the kingdom that, look, ain't no way he going to get back, so I can curse him. He messed up. Man, as soon as Absalom was dead, we're going to get to that, and David got back, that dude Shimeon cut a beeline over there. Was on his knees. You know, don't remember what I did, King. We ain't going to read all that. He was on his knees, don't remember. And David, and then they really wanted to kill him then, if David's bored. They was like, now, can I take his head off? Now that we back home, and he accused us of all this and cursed us out. David said, ain't nobody going to die today. Go on home. So David didn't do nothing. Let him go home. But one of his final instructions with Solomon was like, hey, that cat can't get away with that. He just told us, so you know what to do. Solomon set him up. Because they couldn't just go kill him. Solomon said, you messed up back in the day when my father had that problem. Solomon still didn't kill him. But sometimes they'll put you in a box. Even authorities do that today. That's what happened to O.J. O.J. was living good. After he got away with that, they said, we can't do nothing to him. But we're going to put him in a box. He's going to jump out that box. Because he was used to a certain lifestyle. He trying to have that. They took all of it. You ain't going to have that no more. You better get used to a new lifestyle. They taking this stuff. They doing them in. That's what Solomon did. He told Shimei, he said, look, you know what you did, but I ain't going to do nothing to you. I tell you what, you build your house in Jerusalem. Don't leave Jerusalem no more. See, the Lord's servant got some wisdom. So now, I'm not killing you really for what you did. You deserve to die, but you got to pass on that. This is what you're going to die for. The day you leave Jerusalem, you a dead man. He was in a box. He hung for a few years. He built him a house. What you going to do, right? He built him a house. He hung at Jerusalem. He hung out. Now people know you got some casualties. Now people know you in a box. He had some servants. His servants ran off on him. Like, what you gonna do? We know what's going on. You can't even leave. Boom, they ran off. Left Jerusalem. I guess he thought he can get out and get back. He went to get him. He got him too. But when he got back, of course, somebody gave Solomon word. You know, his servants ran off, and he went to get him, and he back now. Solomon said, call him. Off with his head now. That's so the Lord got casualties for everybody. Even though David had made a great mistake and was out there suffering, now this guy didn't come out cursing him out. He didn't got himself in trouble. He didn't got him some casualty. This thing is deep. What verse you at?
13.
Go ahead.
And as David and his men went by the way, Shimei went along on the hillside over against them, and cursed as he went, threw stones at him, and cast dust.
See, he just really is being indignant. Just being indignant, you know, like a gnat. Ain't gonna do nothing. They let him go. Go ahead and let him do it. Throwing rocks and kicking dirt, cursing. 14.
And the king and all the people that were with him came weary and refreshed themselves there.
See, they vulnerable. They weary. And then you at your low point, and this cat come out and curse you out. Threatening and everything. But David let it go. Go to 17th chapter. Go to the 17th chapter of 2 Samuel. Next chapter over 17 and 26. 17 and 26. Because this is what David was in bad shape. That's why Shimei said, yeah, that's why your son took over from you. Because you a bloody man. You got what you got coming. You getting your casualties. Gonna be some casualties. And like, you gonna get you some. 26, go ahead.
So Israel and Absalom pitched in the land of Gilead. And it came to pass, when David was come to Mahanaim, that Shobai, the son of Nahash, of Rabbah, of the children of Ammon, and Machir, the son of Amiel, of Lodebar, and Barzillai, the Gileadite, of Rajalim, brought beds and basins and earthen vessels, and wheat and barley and flour and parched corn and beans and lentils and parched posts.
See, the Lord always got somebody that know what's going on, that's still going to be by your side. David going through a bad situation, cat come out there and curse him out. David didn't do nothing. But then somebody else come out there who got some wisdom, brought all kind of stuff to help him. So you got two different responses to this situation, don't you? You got two different responses. This dude came out with some of everything to help David. That's what you trying to restore. If you know somebody been a servant of God and they going through some hard times, you trying to restore them. You ain't trying to bring them down no further. But I know sometimes we try to deal with stuff that's over our head though. But go ahead.
And honey and butter and sheep and cheese of kine for David and for the people that were with him to eat. For they said, the people is hungry and weary and thirsty in the wilderness. See,
the Lord always got somebody that's going to understand, and they going to be the ones that be in your corner and give you what you need, and they getting a blessing. See, it didn't look good for David right then, but this guy knew what was going on. He come out there and said, look, it's time for me to help this brother. Not bring him down further. 2 Samuel 12. 2 Samuel 12. Now we're going to get to why all that was going on anyway. Why did that go on? Because that was some casualties David was going through. That was some casualties David had come. But who in charge of the casualties? The Lord in charge of the casualties. Lord had Nathan tell him what the casualties was going to be. 2 Samuel 12. See, but this guy Shobai, who we just read about it, he helped David when he was in his jam. But Shimei, he cursed him. 12 and 7, go ahead.
And Nathan said to David, thou art the man. Thus said the Lord God of Israel. I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul.
See, that's what happened. The Lord delivered David out of the hand of Saul. Shimei come out there cursing him because, you know, he holding David responsible for Saul being knocked off the throne and dead. David didn't touch him. David said, Saul trying to kill David. David knew better. David said, I ain't going to touch him. He had opportunity to kill Saul on a number of occasions. He didn't touch him. He said, I ain't going to touch that brother. Some of them hard brothers with him. They was like, let me go take his head off. Because, you know, he chasing them, trying to kill them. David was like, look, that's the Lord's anointing. And even if he messed up, now, at one time, he was working for the Lord. I ain't going to mess with him. And the Lord, he said at one time, he said, one day Saul will meet his doom in battle. Something going to happen. It'll come on him. Because David understood. But he going to let the Lord handle that. That way, hey, David ain't going to get himself no casualties. He already got enough. He ain't going to get himself no casualties for messing with Saul. So that's why I said here, Nathan came to David and said, you the man. He gave him that parable about a man that did somebody wrong. And he said, you the man that did this, David. That's what the prophet said. And this how the God of Israel anointed you king over Israel, and he delivered you out of the hand of Saul. That's what God did for you. And what else God do for you, David? Verse 8.
And I gave thee thy master's house.
See, that's what the Lord is having Nathan tell David. I delivered you out of the hand of Saul. I gave you your master's house. Go ahead.
And thy master's wives into thy bosom.
And thy master's wives into thy bosom. Notice he said wives plural. I know sisters don't like to hear that, even the thought of that a man have more than one wife, but it went on in the Bible. See, that's just our own skewed opinion. If the Lord said he gave this man wives, why should it be crazy, so far-fetched just because the world don't understand? Hey, the Lord is about some kind of order. Now, I say this all the time. I'm just reading the Bible. I ain't saying this because it's time for us to be trying to get more than one wife. I just know the way the Lord look at things. Matter of fact, it's not time. But yet and still, I know how the Lord look at it. And I say it all the time. I said it 100 times. Just because we ain't pushing that, like the Mormons act like you just got to do that. You know, you got that. No, it ain't never been you got to have more than one wife when it was going on, when the Lord was allowing. It never was like that. Like that's a principle. Like that's the 11th commandment. That's what some Israelites are. Thou shalt have more than one wife. It never was like that. But the bottom line is the Lord allowed it, and the Lord got good reasons for allowing it, because when he do it, it is what cuts down a lot of fornication. It cuts down fornication, because believe it or not, even if a sister is not attached to some man, she gonna be sneaking on somebody, man. She gonna be sneaking one way or another. So the Lord at least had, when he was doing this, he had some order to it where, look, because she sneak on this sister man, and then it break up, they find out, then she gonna go to another man. That's just straight up pollution. So the Lord had it where it was in some order. You know, but I heard people say, see, again, some sisters, they mind is like Shimei on that. They got their own opinion. Oh, that's just nasty. That's just wrong. Look, I would be careful saying that when the Lord said he gave David wives, right? And we are part of the nation of Israel. And the nation of Israel, God's holy nation, is built by one man and how many women? 4 women. Because the Lord going to get his job done. So again, I ain't saying this so brothers, oh, I'm going to get me another. No. But this is how the Lord look at it. So that's what he said. Read verse 8 again.
And I gave thee thy master's house.
He said, I gave it to you, David. I gave you your master's house. I gave you Saul. See, that shows you Shimei was out of order. He had his own mindset. The Lord gave it to him. Go ahead.
And thy master's wives into thy bosom.
And your master's wives, plural, right? Go ahead.
And gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if it had been too little, I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things.
He said, if it wouldn't have been enough, I would have gave you some more stuff. See, that wasn't no problem. Lord said, I gave you all that. But see, David had just committed these great sins. That's what the Lord is rebuking him, having Nathan rebuke him for. So I gave you all this, and that wasn't enough for you, that you got to do what? Verse 9.
Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord?
You didn't despise the commandment of the Lord. See, whatever you hold to more, David didn't walk around, I hate the commandments of the Lord. I can't stand. He didn't do that. But whichever you hold on to, that's what you're showing you love. Jesus said you love one and hold to one and lead other. So if you didn't win against it, in a sense, you chose to break it more than you chose to embrace it. So he said, wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord? Go ahead.
To do evil in his sight.
Oh, great evil. Go ahead.
Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword. And hast taken his wife to be thy wife.
See, this was done in the closet. And a whole lot of people wasn't privy to it. But obviously the Lord privy to it. That's one thing I always know. Hey, the Lord see it all. I tell people all the time, whatever's done in the dark, it's going to come to the light. You just got to be ready for it. He said, wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord to do evil in the sight? You killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and has did what?
And has taken his wife to be thy wife.
And taken his wife. He said, this when you crossed the line. You done did this. Go ahead.
and has slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon.
See, David didn't go out there and physically kill him, but he killed him just the same. Because he was in the army, he put him on the front line and told the general to withdraw the troops from him. He killed him. You killed him with the sword of Ammon. Go ahead.
Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house.
Oh, here go the casualties. But they don't come from man, they come from God. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from your house. You gonna have a whole lot of hell going on in your house. But go ahead, keep reading.
Because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife.
Oh, that's atrocious. That was atrocious sin. That's why I say I ain't crazy enough to think. See, some people might look at it with David, you know, I might take a little war in my house if I can take somebody else's wife. I wouldn't try it. Hey, David was a man after God's own heart. I figure if I slip into that, I come up missing. He said, look, the sword is not going to depart from your house because you took this man's wife. Verse 11.
Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house.
The Lord said, I'm going to do it, David. I got some casualties for you. Because he committed 2 great sins in one span, trying to get out the one sin. You know, you'll do some weird stuff when the Lord jam you up. But you think David didn't know better? David trying to wiggle. Like the record says, like being in quicksand. The more you wiggle, the deeper you sink. Go ahead.
And I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbors, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of this son.
See them same wives that I gave you, David? You done took this man one wife and slept with her. I got some casualty for you. I'm going to let somebody sleep with your wives, plural. The only difference is what? Go ahead.
For thou didst it secretly.
You did it in secret. Well, of course, if you do something wrong, it's going to be in secret, right? You did it in secret, David. Go ahead.
But I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun.
He say, when I bring this casualty for your sins on you, I'm going to do it before all Israel. But the Lord got David's number, don't he? Go ahead. Now back to 13.
And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said unto David, the Lord also hath put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die.
Nah, David didn't respond. David knew. Obviously, you know this is wrong. And David didn't try to act like he didn't do nothing wrong. He said, obviously, I didn't sin before the Lord. But Nathan has some good news still for David. All that's going to happen to you, these casualties, you still got hope with the Lord. So I say this because that's so atrocious. You would think, how can a man recover from that? If they already been serving the Lord and been doing good, the Lord is merciful. He's trying to restore. Go ahead. 14.
Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme. The child also that is born unto thee shall surely die.
Oh, the child got that. We read that earlier. Great occasion. That's what you did, David. Go ahead.
And Nathan departed unto his house. And the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bare unto David, and it was very sick.
See? Because now, you know, Uriah gone. So the woman can have a baby that David had impregnated her with. But the Lord wasn't going to let that go on. He said that child got to die because like we read earlier, it's going to be a remembrance of this sin every time. So the child got to die, and the Lord struck the child. But notice what David did. Go ahead.
David therefore besought God for the child.
See, people say, oh, I heard a preacher on TV say, there's a hypocrite here. Because he got the nerve to turn around and pray to God after he then messed up greatly. I ain't talking about no little sin. I'm talking about 2 great sins. He got the nerve to keep seeking God and pray to him. You know, he a hypocrite. Is he? Or is he smart enough to know he can't go nowhere else? Who else he going to pray to? Buddha? What he going to do? He going to throw the child in? Even he praying for the child that the Lord then already said he going to kill him because it's great occasion. See, David know, and that's what we all should know, brothers and sisters, no matter what, anything is possible with the Lord. David turned around and going to pray for the child. The Lord, this part of his casualty. The child got to die. And David turned around and said, I know the Lord is merciful. I'm going to still pray for this child. Go ahead.
And David fasted and went in and lay all night upon the earth. And the elders of his house arose and went to him to raise him up from the earth. But he would not, neither did he eat bread with them.
See, he studied praying for the child because the child ain't dead yet. The child's sick. But let's see what happened. Skip down to 22 and go ahead.
And he said, while the child was yet alive, I fasted and wept. For I said, who can tell whether God will be gracious to me that the child may live?
See, David was beating himself up while the child was alive, hoping the Lord would spare him and have mercy. Because I said, who can tell? I prayed. Because his servants came to him. They saw him all messed up. They tried to give him to eat while the child was alive while he was seeking the Lord. And David said, no, I ain't eating nothing. See, they thought he was just beat up. No, he was seeking the Lord, praying and fasting. And then a strange thing happened. He heard him whispering. We skipped over that. He heard him whispering, and he knew. He said, oh, the child had died. So my prayers wasn't answered. He said, the child dead. And they were scared to tell her because they said, man, he been beating himself up while the child was alive. He going to lose his mind. They said, yeah, the child dead. David did something strange. Then he got up and washed himself up and started eating. And they said, that's weird. You was beating yourself up at first. Now the child dead, you went back to business. He said, verse 22, while the child was yet alive, I fasted and wept. For I said, who can tell whether God will be gracious to me, that the child may live? 23.
But now he is dead.
But now he dead.
Wherefore should I fast? Can I bring him back again? I shall go to him, but he shall not return to me.
He said, hey, I stopped praying now. It's a done deal. But God brought that casualty on, but mainly it was to keep down. See, God is trying to keep down casualties and blaspheming from people by covering it up. We want to spread stuff. That's why brother got up here one time. I didn't tell him, the brother got up here just on his own and going to start telling everybody something. Half the people didn't know what he was talking about. That wasn't something you need to do. Lord said, confess your faults one to another. You ain't got to confess to everybody. But I guess some kind of way in his mind, then he get more questions after that. Well, what happened? What did he do? They trying to figure out stuff they don't even know. The Lord ain't never said nothing like that. Now you open it up cans of worms. But the Lord is trying to put the can back on. That's why he killed a child. Go ahead. What verse you at?
24. And David comforted Bathsheba, his wife, and went in unto her.
Wait a minute. Now, somebody would definitely say, wait a minute. Should he stay with her? Because he didn't took the man's wife, committed adultery with her. She got pregnant. The man didn't sleep with the woman, so he had to kill the man. How he going to stay with her? He didn't look. Now, hey, it's a done deal. The man dead. She don't have no husband no more, even though David killed her. But hey, it's a done deal. You got to move. You got to move forward. I figured he said, I'm getting all this for it. I might as well keep what I done got in trouble for. So of course he did. But to somebody on the outside looking in, they'd be like, he know he shouldn't have stayed with her. No, really? That's hypocritical. Really? David comforted Bathsheba, his wife, and went in unto her and lay with her, and what?
And she bare a son. And he called his name Solomon. And the Lord loved him.
Oh, the Lord then blessed him with a son. That show you, boy, the Lord is really merciful. The Lord then blessed him with a son by this woman. Like I heard Devin. I was in L.A. last week. I heard Devin. He mentioned sodomy. He said, the Lord can't do nothing with sodomy. He can't do nothing with that, and that's true. But even the Lord can have something good come out of adultery. Because look what came out of this adultery. It sure is wrong. And we can say clearly, the Lord said, I gave you wives, but David took this one on his own. He took her. So the Lord, I wouldn't tell nobody, well, the Lord gave him back. See, now David took her, but once it's a done deal, what he going to do? And the Lord turned around and gave him the greatest, wisest king that Israel had from the woman. See, other people would look down at this. How the Lord looking at it, though, is what's important. We ain't worried about man's perception. We worried about God's perception. Go ahead.
And he sent by the hand of Nathan the prophet.
Uh-huh.
He called his name Jedediah because of the Lord.
See, he was Solomon, and he also was called Jediah because he was loved of the Lord. The child born by the woman that David committed adultery with and killed her husband. That shows you the Lord is in the business of restoring. Wasn't no reason for, at that point when David did all this, ain't no reason to just let her go be by herself, and he didn't lay with her, and the husband gone. But now, go to the 13th chapter, 2 Samuel 13. Just go right into the next chapter. But people don't understand how the Lord working. We're looking at it from a skewed view in many occasions. 2 Samuel 13, but that's the good thing. The Lord got every base covered. All you got to do is know where it is. 2 Samuel 13 and verse 1. Go ahead.
And it came to pass after this, that Absalom the son of David had a fair sister, whose name was Tamar. And Amnon the son of David loved her. And Amnon was so vexed that he fell sick for his sister Tamar, for she was a virgin. And Amnon thought it hard for him to do anything to her.
Okay, now remember, David got casualties coming still. The Lord is merciful, but you're going to get what you got coming. Don't nobody even have to worry about that. That's why I ain't got to jump the gun on nobody else. If I tell you, look, you know that was wrong, and you say, okay, I say, okay. The Lord will deal with the rest. He said he was going to bring war in his house. It would never be no peace in his house. And here it is, it came to pass after that, that David had Absalom, the son of David, the one who ran David out, hadn't ran him out by here yet, had a fair sister. That means they had the same mother. Because again, David had wives. Absalom and Tamar had the same mother. So, and she was fair. That means she was pretty. And Amnon, who got a different mother, but they were all David's children, loved her. You know, but a lot of times men love from the outside, the appearance on the outside, but they don't want to do the right thing when it comes down to it. So it said he loved her. He looking at the beauty, but he evidently, he don't know nothing about no responsibility. So in verse 2 said, and Amnon was so vexed. I mean, this man is sick. He looking at this. Now, she his own sister. That's against the law. Don't you know that? The Lord gave a law later. You know, it happened in the old days. The Lord gave a law saying you don't sleep with your father's daughter or your mother's daughter. You don't sleep with them. That's what the world called today what? Incest. You don't do that. But he already lusting out there, so he already going the wrong way, right? But remember, David going to get some casualties anyway. This is his son and daughter. So this dude is sick for his sister, Tamar. And she was a virgin. You know, you had a lot of them in those days. The world's so jacked up, they few and far in between. Now, you get to be 12 people that messed up. But anyway, go ahead, 3.
But Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shimeah, David's brother. And Jonadab was a very subtle man.
See, now, this guy wouldn't have never did nothing. He saw it looked too difficult. He just lusted from afar. He wouldn't have never did nothing. Amnon. He liked the girl, but he said, hey, ain't nothing I can do about it. He wouldn't have never did nothing. But if you trying to do something wrong, Satan will send you somebody that will whisper in your ear. So yeah, you know, you can do it. So this guy kind of slick. He know how to maneuver a little bit. But just because you know how to maneuver in man's world don't mean you know how to, the Lord is looking at stuff. But go ahead.
And he said unto him, why art thou, being the king's son, lean from day to day?
He said, what's wrong with you?
Wilt thou not tell me? And Amnon said unto him, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister.
See? He said, man, why you all sad? You the king's son. What's going on? He told him. Verse 5.
And Jonadab said unto him, lay thee down on thy bed and make thyself sick.
Now he got a plan for him. You know, Satan always got to say, I'll show you how to do it. Let me show you what to do. You know the old play sick rule, right? Play sick. Lay down on your bed and make thyself sick. That means play sick. Go ahead.
And when thy father cometh to see thee.
When David find out you sick, he going to come down and see you. Go ahead.
Say unto him, I pray thee, let my sister Tamar come and give me meat and dress the meat in my sight, that I may see it and eat it at her hand.
The guy told him to do that. And he listened to this bad advice, going to get himself in some trouble.
So Amnon
skip down to verse 10. He did it. He did exactly what Jonadab told him to do. Go ahead.
And Amnon said unto Tamar, bring the meat into my chamber, into the chamber.
See, now, that didn't happen. David went down there and he said, send Tamar down here to fix me something to eat, Daddy. So David did it. He sent her down there. And then this is a setup, of course. So he got all the people out and he told her to bring it into the chamber. That's the bedroom, right? Bring it in the bedroom, in the chamber. Go ahead.
That I may eat of thine hand. And Tamar took the cakes which she had made and brought them into the chamber to Amnon, her brother.
Go ahead.
And when she had brought them unto him to eat, he took hold of her and said unto her, come lie with me, my sister.
Okay, now the plan went as planned. See, the Lord let you pull a plan off. He didn't sit there and plotted this. He didn't plot it on his own, but he got the plot right from this other guy. The Lord let you pull it off. So he turned around, got the girl in there. Time he get in there, he get down to business what he really want her in there for. Grabbed her and said, come on, let's lay together. Now, see, these people knew God. They knew how God looked at things. Now, they brother and sister, that shouldn't happen anyway, but some things are less important than others. So now, go ahead.
And she said, and she answered him, nay, my brother, do not force me, for no such thing ought to be done in Israel. Do not thou this follow.
Boy, this girl got some wisdom. She said, don't do it. She a virgin. Don't do it. Don't force me. This is folly. Even if you want me, do it in order. Go speak to the king, right? That's what she going to tell him. Do it in order. Because, we'll do things out of order in a minute. But that's why I always point out to people, even if you do it out of order, you can still do the right thing after the fact. Because Deuteronomy 22 tells you, if a man lay with a woman, he didn't have no intention of being with her. That's okay. You done laid with her. You done slept with her. Now you need to make her your wife. Now you need to make a covenant. See, some people go around and say, well, when you sleep with somebody, that's your wife. No, a wife is a covenant. That agreement had to be made. But what happened when you sleep with somebody, that necessitates you making the agreement with them and taking them as your wife. That's what happened. That's what the book say. See, that's what I stress that to brothers all the time, because we want the easy way out all the time. We done something, then we want to backpedal from it. Brothers come, I tell you all the time, I laid with her, but I don't want to be with her. Yeah, you should have thought about that before you laid with her. And that's for everybody. You should have thought about that. You didn't put yourself in position where you got to do something. But we used to just really being whores and whoremongers, and the Lord give you an out when you done messed up. You can correct it then. You can still do the right thing, but we want to keep going and move on. Like one sister told me. She said, yeah, back in the day, my man didn't act right. I didn't mess around. I was like, next. Yeah, that's just whoredom, though. But yeah, that was the way you was before you didn't know the Lord. She know better than that now, right? But that's how the majority of people are in the world. Next. And you just keep on committing whoredom, but it need to stop. So now he trying to sleep with his own sister. She was wise enough to say, don't do it, don't force me. So she ain't going along. She ain't going to consent to this. She ain't going to consent. She said, no such thing ought to be done in Israel. Do not this folly. Verse 13.
And whither shall I cause my shame to go?
See, she's seeking sense because the way he going about it, this cat just trying to sleep with me. We don't need to do this. And if you do this, now this girl is a virgin. She said, and where I'm going to go, where my shame going to go, you do this. Go ahead.
And as for thee, thou shalt be as one of the fools in Israel.
She said, where my shame going to go? See, you going to mess us both up. Go ahead.
Now therefore, I pray thee, speak unto the king, for he will not withhold me from thee.
See, she told him what to do. Do it in order. Don't do it out of order. Speak to the king. We can do this right if that's what you want. We'll do it the right way. What happened?
Howbeit, he would not hearken unto her.
No, because he had one thing on his mind, right? And the Lord knows sometimes that's what we have on our mind, right? Mm-hmm. But the Lord he got some casualties once you acted that out. It's some casualties. That's why the Lord say, if a man entice a maid and lie with her, he need to take up the responsibility now. Because you then did something, you done did an act that necessitates. Because see, if you don't, brothers and sisters, now she going to go be with somebody else, and it's just going to be more pollution, more pollution. That's not the way it should be. See, so